I'm going to put a chart up here and I'll describe it to you. Basically what it tracks is auto sales over time, which of course went way, way up to record numbers, now coming off somewhat, but we're tracking it against the cost of credit essentially, automotive loans, which went way down obviously after 2008, but then came back up a little bit. Is that explaining some of the trail off in the sales?
It could be. We've had this long run, as you mentioned, increases year over year since 2009, and so this is a cyclical industry. That run had to come to an end, but we're still at a really strong level. We are concerned about interest rates. We do think that will be a headwind going forward this year, and they've been edging up.
And as a practical matter, what are we expecting for automakers? They have been curtailing their production lines to some extent to try to adjust their capacity as there's been a trailing off, as you say.
Well, I think that's been a huge plus in the business, not if you work at a plant, but there has been a lot of discipline by automakers to match production with demand. We've seen little hesitancy to close a plant, and particularly car plants, because car sales are softer than truck and sport utility vehicle sales, but when sales are off. And I think we can expect more of that going forward.
So, Michelle, we tend to focus on vehicle sales, which is number of units rather than profitability or margin. To some extent, they can make up for it by curtailing their production costs, but also by the blend of what the product mix, because there's been a real move toward trucks and SUVs. Is that continuing?
Yes, and in fact, I think we'll close out the year with full-size pickup trucks being the second biggest segment. We think that'll be about 14% of all vehicle sales, and there are huge profits in those, and that's why Detroit automakers are doing particularly well. And this year, it'll be an even bigger year for trucks because there are new ones coming. We know that Fiat Chrysler will be introducing a new Ram this year. General Motors has a couple of new full-size pickup trucks, and Ford will have some new additions to the F-Series. So it's going to be the year of the truck.
Michelle, we're in the United States, so we tend to focus on the United States. There's a somewhat different story, as I understand it, globally, that actually globally auto sales continue to move up. Vehicle sales are moving up. Does that make up some of the difference for U.S. automakers?
Well, it depends. I mean, certainly China is the place that everybody looks to, and increased sales there are very important. And the mix is different. You know, we are big into full-size pickup trucks, but I will say that the whole sport utility trend is global. So if you're strong in sport utilities anywhere, you're doing well.